All right, everybody, happy Friday to you and yours. We got a special show for you this afternoon. I'm super excited because I sometimes I get to do guests that other people like and I might not like, but today I get to do guests that I personally like, love, and excited to talk to in person instead of just watching them on YouTube every day and learning from them. They are known as Hustlin Hooks. They are
Oh, nice.
It's on my
amazing
t-shirt.
resellers. Yeah, it's on the. Where's my shirt?
We
That
only have a
Edin,
limited supply. 3.
Edin, three,
Mhm.
Edin and Melinda, who
Mhm.
I got to say, not only have your lives changed, but you've changed my life too in the last over a year that I've gotten to know you guys.
Oh,
Awesome.
good. Yeah, hopefully in a good way.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's so like so I'm one half of a team too. My other half, Coco, is out doing things with her daughter. But um, so we ended up into this world of reselling, and it was something that I've dabbled in on and off most of my life. But um, I've gotten to know now people like you guys, and there's a whole community that I had no idea about until I went down this rabbit hole.
Mhm.
So I'm dying to know, like, how did this whole journey of you guys really start with the first off with the reselling?
Yeah, so thanks for having us on, first of all. Nice to see you. It started kind of randomly. Melinda was just about to give birth with our
Yeah.
firstborn. That was
Mhm.
roughly 2.5 years ago. And I was talking to a friend at work, and his dad flips sports memorabilia and has been doing it successfully for years.
Mhm.
And so we talked about it, and I started watching eBay, like what to flip on eBay for profit videos, and I ran into Cincinnati Picker, and then I brought it
Right.
home. I was watching it while she
Mhm.
was making puzzles,
Yeah.
passing time,
Yeah.
and she thought it was kind of weird, and I
Yeah.
was like, yeah, it is kind of weird. I'm watching some man like shop at a garage sale,
Mhm.
and then we sold a graphing calculator while she was delivering, and that's how it started.
Mhm.
So it's
Yeah.
it's
Kind
pretty
of
crazy.
snowballed from there. A couple days after Jess was born, we went out to do some garage sailing.
Yeah,
So it was kind of our thing.
her first garage sale was at 5 days old, so
Mhm.
yeah, pretty
Wow.
crazy.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Yeah.
It's like when I got started, like in the very early days of eBay, and it was like kind of not the same thing, but it was like where my ex-wife, we were having our first child, and it was kind of like, what am I going to do to make extra money now to feed this kid? Like,
Mhm.
what am I going to
Mhm.
do? And it was like, oh, what's this eBay thing? And then it was like, oh, and then you sell that first thing, and it's like, oh my, like this thing actually works.
Yeah,
Mhm.
well, once that first transaction cleared, my thought literally was like someone has sent me $40 for something that was sitting in my drawer for 3 years after college that I have
Mhm.
no intent to use again. It's like all I have to do now is put this in bubble wrap and put it in a poly bag, and that's it. And I just made $40. It's like
Mhm.
what? And then you start going garage sailing, and you figure out how crazy the margins can be, and
Yeah.
like what all the crazy things are that people are buying, which is
That was
literally
what it was for me. It
everything.
was like, people are going to pay me what for this?
Yeah.
Like, people are looking for this? That blew my mind that, I mean, almost anything didn't have to be thrown away.
Yeah, and the crazy part was my goal originally was from August of 2019 until the end of 2019. The goal was to make enough money for an additional $500 down payment, or not down payment,
Yeah,
principal.
principal
Thanks,
payment. Yeah.
principal payment on the house, and we ended up making over $10,000 extra principal payment in that same time period.
Mhm.
And then
Wow.
that January through May, we paid off an additional 47,000 and became 100% debt free,
Mhm.
in part thanks to eBay and our our
Yeah.
work ethic.
Yeah, so basically everything we made on eBay, we just threw it on the house. Like, we didn't use it for anything else except
Mhm.
paying the house off.
Yeah, it's a wonderful thing.
Mhm.
And this is where I feel you guys have such an amazing story because, and I'm going to be honest. So, like, when I first ended up down the rabbit hole, and I discovered you guys, I was saying to myself, you can tell they've never done anything like this because it was like awkwardness, and it was like they're like you guys were like kind of struggling at times. And a friend of mine who I turned on to you guys too, he was like the same thing. He said, but you know what? And we both agreed. I'm like, out of everybody, they are like beyond knowledgeable. And I think it's like at times by accident, but at times it's so well thought out. And it was just like kind of shocking. And I was just kept coming back for more and more and more and seeing the growth. And now it's like you guys are like boom, 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 become naturals at it. And it's like not only have you become naturals at it, but the story that you guys have unfolded in the last, year, when especially Edin, when you decided to leave your job. When you made that announcement, I was like, oh my God, like, whoa, 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 put the brakes on here. What are you doing? Because it's not like, other YouTubers in the community that, or resellers that have like, a half decent job that might be making 40, 50,000 a year. I mean, you were making 3 figures. So that was a totally different story to make that jump.
Yeah. You cut off a little bit there at the end, but yeah, that's what I always tell people. Like, if you're making like $30,000 a year, then it's like, what are you waiting for? Like, if that's your income, like, stop and literally sell 10 things a day, and you'll make your money plus some, and you'll get to live your lifestyle. And it's like, that's a no-brainer. I wanted to quit way before April, but we had specific goals to meet before I did that. And that's the other thing too, for whoever is out there listening. If you are thinking about leaving whatever job you have and doing this full time, make sure you have a plan in place, because most people dream about it, but almost no one executes it properly because they don't actually have a plan in place. So for us, our plan was, 100% debt free, at least 6 months of cash, have YouTube pay us enough to cover our medical insurance every single month and then some. And then we can start talking about quitting the job.
Right. So now that's like a whole nother world too. Like, doing the reselling is one thing. Like you said, you started doing that, started making the money. At what point do you guys say to yourself, let's like start doing YouTube?
I don't know.
I don't really remember. I mean, Jess was still a baby. So we sort of started it then. I'm not sure. I don't really remember, because we had talked about it a long time before we actually did it. And we were like, we just really don't have time, because we're both working. We're doing eBay. We have a new baby. So it's not really like, we can't just get on there and just have a bunch of time for it. So, and then I think it just became like an extra way to like connect with the community is really what it was, and figure out like, well, we learned this so quickly, so we should help other people try to learn this just as quickly.
Right. Yeah, I don't specifically remember what it was that we're just like, let's do YouTube. I most likely, if I'm reimagining what went through my mind, it was probably something like, I want to do that. That looks like that you can make money doing that. I like talking. Let's do that. Something simple. I'm pretty stupid. I don't think about stuff where I don't really like examine things like, oh, what could go wrong? Like, what if people don't like it? I don't know. What if they do like it? It's like, let's just do it. And see how it goes. I remember our friend Terry from the Netherlands. He joined one of our random lives because of the time difference, and it was the first time we ever did a live, and we did something like hustle with us on a Thursday, and we're like processing steamers or something, washing pots and pans, and just like chatting with people. And his compliment was like, I like the fact that you guys just like, you do it, like you have no experience, you don't know what you're doing. You're just, it's like, we put a laptop at our stool in our kitchen and started doing it. It's like, this is fun,
Right. Yeah.
I don't know.
But how about that? Well, that's true for sure. But how about that though? I mean, did you have any experience like editing videos and doing that whole?
No,
did you watch YouTube videos to learn how to do it?
Just a little bit. So I learned, I do all the YouTube editing. And so I started on my phone with the free app from iPhone. And then I ended up buying Power Director, and then you just teach yourself. And it's like, oh, how do I'm not good at it. I just know enough.
Fancy or anything.
Yeah. I just know how to cut scenes. And then we're getting a little bit better and better about like, well, what are we actually going to do in this video, instead of like, let's just, do whatever. So I don't know. I think I probably watched up to like 20 minutes of YouTube videos, and everything else is just like, what's this button do?
Yeah.
What's this button do?
Yeah.
And then, so
now,
far,
did
so
you
good.
guys? Yeah, absolutely. Did you guys take the course from Rally Roots early on? Did I remember hearing that? No, I thought I heard that.
Nope.
100% self-taught, everything.
Wow. Cool.
I mean, we ask people questions, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But
Right.
I remember the first video I ever edited, I asked Josh here today, I was like, hey, what format do I export this file in? He's like, this format. It's like, all right, cool, thanks. So yeah, but as far as like reselling, we've never taken any courses. We just figured it out ourselves.
And watch YouTube videos, obviously, of like other resellers.
Right.
So.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you guys still sit and watch other resellers?
We do sometimes, yeah, when we have time. Like I was just watching Hustle at Home Mom earlier while I was listing. So I think it's still good. I think you still always have like a lot to learn from other people. So
yeah. I like watching, I like supporting smaller channels too. And I like watching interesting people. So the ones that I currently watch, like I watched the Fi Resellers, that's, relatively recently. I've watched a lot of their content. The ATL Flippers, I watch a good amount of their content. So I like watching smaller channels and kind of, giving any feedback that I can to help them out. And then just learning, because you still learn. That's I think a lot of when stubborn people are not very good resellers because they think they know it all. And it's just like, I don't know anything. So every day, like I tell people, we pretend like we have no idea what we're doing, and then we have an open mind to it, and then we can succeed in it. Otherwise, it's just like, well, Wrangler doesn't sell well. It's like, are you sure? When's the last time we actually researched? Is it a style of Wrangler? What about vintage Wrangler? What about lined? What about carpenter jeans? What about this style? What about those sizes? What about these sizes? And it's like, if you do that enough, then you're going to learn. Otherwise, you're just going to, be in your own way.
Yeah.
So you guys, up until recently, I mean, your business plan was basically kind of like most resellers, where you were just selling anything and everything you came across, and it didn't matter size, shape, object, you guys were selling it. And we do the same thing. And it's funny, like I've been saying to myself, because I'm the one that does most of the packing and all, I've been saying to myself, man, I would love to just sell shirts and media and books and stuff like that, because it's just so much easier. Like dread, and I've watched you guys do it many times, you dread with the rolls and rolls of bubble wrap around the VCRs and the big bulky boxes and the mountain of boxes and stuff all throughout your house. And you guys made a switch that shocked the hell out of me recently. How long was that in an idea and a plan to make that switch?
Not too long. I mean, it had been, maybe a little bit, but it was more of in terms of business discussions of like, what's going to make us more efficient? What are we going to be able to train employees on? How do we save time? Because packing takes up like a big chunk of our time. And it just sort of, we both watch Chris at Daily Refinement. So we saw like, he's doing it with, mall brands and everything. So it just sort of kind of became that discussion of like, well, should we just do that? And we did. We just decided to like rip the Band-Aid off, just like jump into it and just build it right away. And it's been great. Packing has been great. I do not miss packing. Like, I mean, we're still obviously selling like a little bit, but it's not, Mondays, it would take us, that was our whole day. It was 6 hours of packing. So it's not even half that now.
It's not even a quarter. The as far as like why or how long did we discuss it for? We've always said from the beginning we want to own a business. We're business owners. We're not resellers. It just so happens that our business is reselling used goods at this time. So that's been our objective. We're 2.5 years into a 5-year plan to gross $1 million plus a year. And so that's our objective. So we have 2.5 more years to get there, and we're getting closer and closer to that benchmark. And the thought was, well, how long and how many people are you going to train to test a VCR, ship a piece of Farberware, ship some glass, test a vintage TV, identify some old, pins from some collector from the 60s, and learn about Boy Scouts? It's like, that we have a part-time employee, and it's like she already resells, so she knows the basics. It's like, well, if she doesn't know how to do this one specific thing that took me over 2.5 years to learn, how long, and then how many employees can we actually train to do that? And does that make any sense? And at the end of the day, it doesn't.
Yeah.
So now it's like, this is how we take pictures of jeans, tops, shoes. This is how we pack coats, clothes, shoes.
Yeah.
That's it.
Plus, it's more consistent because you know how long it takes, obviously, like once you're done packing, and then it takes a long time to process hard goods. You know, the photographing goes quick, but we weren't able to consistently list a good number of things every day because it was just sort of like, what can we put up and like, what can we process? So yeah, that's been good.
Yeah, that's definitely the like you said, like the testing of the electronics and stuff like that. It just becomes so much. Like, are you guys going to do, like I mentioned, any smaller stuff? Like, I know you guys were doing like a lot of video games and stuff like that. Are you going to touch on that anymore, or just
only for like YouTube content creation? So as we go, as we're out, you know, making contact at garage sales or something like that, and we run across something that we know is a fast seller, then yeah, we'll go ahead and grab it and probably hoard it for Q4, and then just, you know, list a couple hundred items and just make quick cash off of it.
Right.
But anything that's bulky that takes time, you know, I still have all the, you know, testing consoles, or the vast majority of them, so I can test all the video games, and I'm pretty knowledgeable in that. You know, I know what games to look out for, so it's kind of hard, you know, if we see a Rolex, but it's not a piece of cloth, it's not like we're gonna walk by it. If we can make $500, we'll go flip it.
Right. Yeah.
Straightforward.
And now how about I guess it was like 2-3 months ago you guys started putting some videos out about, you were actually looking for like a warehouse space with like area to open like a small storefront part-time. Is that still the plan, or?
Yeah. Yeah, it's still the plan. We're looking, it's hard to find. I don't know why it's so, we're not very aggressively looking. We've spent the last month redesigning our business model, and still, you know, there's still a lot of improvements to be made, but we're still on the lookout. We're looking for roughly 2,000 square feet. We don't necessarily need a storefront, but I want somewhere where we can actually have people come and bring us their stuff so we can buy in bulk. And then we just need the storage and processing space. So we need something very simple.
Right. And with clothing, it's nice because you can store a lot more in a smaller space. So that's also been really great. As we start to sort of sell off a lot of the hard goods, everything just is a little bit more manageable.
Yeah, it's I've seen, like, you guys have shown at times, like going through your house, the piles and piles of stuff, and like that's the funny part. Like, I think people like the resellers like ourselves should just do tours of the house and the piles throughout, and I'm sure your piles are much neater now.
They're gone. So
no
we can actually contain everything in our like eBay room now, which is so much better, especially for me, because it was literally like I was just at a mental breaking point with all that stuff in my house. I was like, I do not even feel like an adult. I feel like a college student or a hoarder, or somebody who like doesn't live in a real house.
Yeah, all the stuff that we buy now is almost instantaneously processed. So if I give you a quick room in this very small space, there's nothing there. So all the inventory that we just purchased today, we went out to the Goodwill bins. So we have a couple of bags in the car, and we just did a small bulk buy of like 30 pieces that's sitting in front of us. But all that's going to be washed and then put up, and then probably by mid Tuesday, it's all gone. All the pieces that we reject them. We do something with them. We don't say, well, you know, we could learn how to stitch and then we could fix this. But no, it's not going to work out. It didn't wash out, whatever. And we just process. So there's nothing else in our house. The only time there's stuff out there is when our employee is over and one of us is out there packing or something like that. But everything stays in here.
Otherwise, it's maybe like a box or two of inventory, and then that just gets moved.
Wow. Yeah. I love that. It sounds so much nicer.
Oh, it's great.
It is really nice.
Now, you just mentioned something which I wanted to bring up to you guys, because it's funny. We just did this, and this is probably going to be our next video about the bins, because we got to a point like last year, like we just said we just looked at each other and like, I hate coming here. I hate coming to the bins. They're disgusting. The people there, just like it's like a mafia going on in there. It's a weird scene. And we were just like, no, I'm not coming back here no more. And it's probably been about 7-8 months. And then the other day, we were going to go to a Goodwill, and the highway, there was like construction, and it was just blocked. And I was just like, well, if we get off here, we can go to the bins. so we went to the bins for the first time, and we were like, you know what? It wasn't that bad. And we came out with a nice, huge sack of stuff, and we were like, all right, well, maybe we'll try this again. So what are your guys' thoughts on the bins?
I mean, it's just like any other thrift store you go to, it can be hit or miss while you're there, but we usually find at least a whole cart full, and probably about the same amount of time it would take us to go through a whole thrift store, I think, because to go through every section of thrift store probably takes you like an hour or two, and then between new carts coming up and checking shoes and comps. And we're usually at the bins for about 2.5 hours with like an overflowing full cart. And you pay less per item. So I think it's a good thing to mix into our business model, but you can also burn a lot of time there without finding anything. So whereas if I go to a thrift store, I've never not been able to find, at least 5 things that I can pick up. So, I mean, I don't think it's something we're going to do all the time, but a couple times a month, probably we're going to fit it in just to keep our cost of goods lower as an average.
Yeah, our bins are pretty all right. There's a few people that are regulars that are super friendly that we see all the time. There's never any real drama or anything like that. I mean, it's dingy. It's the bins. It's just a bunch of stained old clothing. It's nothing. Yeah.
If you get there before it gets busy too, like it starts to get busy around that 11 o'clock mark. Yeah. When people are like up and out, they drop their kids off type of thing. But if you can get there before then, like right when they open, you can usually hit like 2 or 3 rounds of clothing, at least, because they rotate them every hour or so, and they don't do all of them at once, so you just kind of like moving around, sifting through them.
My favorite part about the bins is the children that are on Instagram that glorify like how amazing it is to be at the bin. So I love like some random kid walks up to me, he's like, I just followed you on Instagram. It's like, all right, cool. What's your name? He's like, Vintage University. I'm like, no, what's your name? He's like, Vintage University. It's like, right. So I go on his thing, and it's just like he's taking pictures of stuff he found. It's like, okay, great. Like it's not. It's like a funny.
Exciting.
It's like a not what's that generation below us? Not millennial, but Gen Z. Are they Gen Z? Yeah, it's like the Gen Zers are making it like this cool thing. It's like it's a dump. That's what it is. It's just you can just go there and find goodies. Anyways, I'll stop.
No, it's there was like one guy at ours, and he was like he would walk around with his phone and like talk to all the other regulars. He was like, "Oh, I just sold this, and I just sold this on Instagram. Follow me on Instagram." And I was just like, "Oh my god, I just want to get out of here. Please let me out of here."
Leave me alone.
Yeah.
But anyways, it's fine. Whatever.
Now, how about with now the shift to close, are you this is especially towards Edin now, are you more versed in all these brands to know? Because usually our ladies know a lot better.
I don't know. I think I hold my own. You answer that. I think I'm pretty good.
I think it's definitely a learnable thing. Like I think I probably had more natural knowledge in it. Like he has more natural knowledge in like video games because I never played them growing up. But he learns from the stuff I pick up.
I learned mostly from her. That's for sure.
Yeah. So, and a lot of it is if it looks quality or feels quality. I mean, that's the biggest thing. The longer you do it, you can feel something that's quality and then look it up. And then that's the best way to learn too. So, and I still do that, at least once every time I'm at a thrift. I'm like, oh, I haven't heard of this brand before. So
yeah, if like the men's section is like totally depleted, then I'll go and like rifle through women's jeans or something like that. But usually I don't, it's not that I don't feel comfortable. It's I don't get like my ROI, my return on investment of going through women's tops is not there for me to spend my time doing that. I would rather spend my time going through the sections that I know relatively well. And then I know next time Onda comes to our thrift store, she'll clean that place up.
Yeah.
It's
And
just not worth my time.
we have a lot more stuff in our section. Like I've noticed like the
Yeah.
men's sections in Goodwill's even are like
Very
smaller.
small.
Right.
Yeah.
And the jeans and pants are all together, whereas women's it's like two rows of jeans and then 2 rows of other pants and then 2 rows of skirts. So it's there's a lot going on over in the women's section.
That's the same way I think about going to the bins. You know, when on our way back, I was thinking it's like, okay, I think the bins make sense if both of us go at the same time, because then we can get the most out of our money and we can hit different sections quicker. It doesn't make sense for us both to go to the same thrift store necessarily, because there's not enough space in there for us to really, you know, have the highest ROI. So that's the way I look at it. It's like, how can I make the most amount of money, and how can I leave here faster? Because I don't like thrifting. That's something like where people, when I tell them that, they're a little bit shocked. It's like, I don't like it.
What?
I don't want to be in there. It's not my thing.
Really?
My thing is my thing is to build a business. I don't want to go thrifting. I'll go find stuff, and when I find stuff, it's exciting and cool, and I'm excited to sell it. But it's not. I don't get all excited like today. I get to go to the thrift store. It's like I've been there a lot. I've been to a lot of thrift stores. They're all the same. It's always the same. You know, it's the same atmosphere.
I like it, but after it does sort of like by midday, you know, once I've been out for like 4 or 6 hours, I'm beat and I'm just like, oh, I don't want to go to another one.
Yeah. Anyways,
what's a typical day in Hustlin Hooks look like?
To be determined.
Well, so I get up. So I do the spreadsheet when I get up, and then if it's before Jess gets up, then I'll switch over and I'll just start listing stuff. And if I don't have anything on my phone, then it's just like photography. Once Jess is, you know, up and about and with whoever her caretaker is for the day, then we try to get packing done right away, like just to get it out of the way. And then it's just photographing and listing, really.
Yeah, it's all pretty variable. Like Wednesdays for sure are our sourcing day. That's when we drop off Jessie at her parents, and then we split Grand Rapids in half and we go sourcing for usually the most of the day. Fridays is mostly just a listing, because we're trying to get, you know, 120 listings done minimum to cover the weekend and get us started on Monday. And then the other days are just process list, and then sometimes we'll sneak out, you know, if there's like this week Tuesday, our Goodwill chain had 25% off, so it's like, hey, go to the thrifts, and thank God she did, because she found some really good stuff. So, you know, it's still pretty variable, but that's what we're trying to get better at, because there's points of frustration where we're not where we're supposed to be, you know, at a certain point of time during the week, where it's just like, well, we did all these things, but we feel like we still haven't done these things, and that's it's just continuous improvement.
Now, how about that? You were saying about the listings. Do you said like on a Friday you'll list 120 things, but are you launching all 120 at one shot, or do you like space them out, you know, for daily amount? Or
so we try to do 40 active listings a day. So we what's the 120? Are you saying
for the weekend, Friday, Saturday?
Oh,
Sunday.
yeah. So by Friday. So our goal is to put up 40 active listings in a day, plus add another 20 to the draft bank. So that way we have enough to cover the weekend plus a little extra. So if we get behind, that's usually our goal anyway, to be at that point.
Yeah, that was one thing too. Like, you know, you learn from watching people like yourselves was the whole algorithm. You know, listing, you know, 40 items a day. Recently, somebody I've become friends with, I've been watching, the Philly Flipper. He did it. He's changed it up to where he doesn't go by now X amount of items a day. He sets a dollar amount a day, which I thought was pretty interesting.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah.
It's hard to know what eBay likes, you know what I mean, and like what they're going by. So if it's working, it's
all relative. If you have name the hottest golf club out there, if you have 300 of them and you list 10 of them a day, you're going to sell out every day. And you can say the eBay algorithm works. It's like, no, you just have the item everyone wants because it's sold out. So I think for our business model, where we're selling, what percentage of our clothing would you say is like very desirable? Like, wow, this is flying off the shelf.
I don't know, like 0.5% maybe, like flies off the shelf.
Let's say 5%. Like that's like people are actually looking for it. Like it's really nice.
Oh, I would say higher than 5% of people, like maybe like 10%.
10%. So 10% of our listings are like things that are like hot, right?
Mhm.
And then 90% of our listings are not.
Our bread and butter items
They're
where
just
people,
I need a new t-shirt. I need a new pair of jeans.
I need some work pants, or
Yeah.
I'm going on vacation, so I'd like to get a new dress.
Yeah. I need some beater shoes. I
I'm going to a wedding.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially, specific looking for stuff things.
The reason I point that out is because if you're in this business model where most of your inventory is not extremely desirable, then you need to do volume, and you need to do it that way, and you need to list a lot. And so we don't do it by dollar amount because it's all irrelevant. Most of our items sell between $20 and $25 plus shipping. So if we set a goal of let's list $1,000 worth per day, it would be almost impossible. Or you would cheat and say, well, I've had this one vest that's worth 500, and now I only have to list a little bit more. So
right.
I don't know.
Right.
The algorithm is we don't discuss it a lot because we don't know what it is.
Yeah, it's a mystery.
And we always just, it's like whoever wants to like really discuss it, it's like, if then that's fine, but we're not really sure. This is just what's working.
That's true. That's so true. Now that's something else you guys have changed with your business model. You went from the free shipping model to now you are actually charging for shipping.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's because we also changed it to leaving best offers on. So that gives us a room to evaluate, an offer and still figure out what our net profit is going to be without thinking that it's going to be eating into the shipping. So if it's over a pound, but not like super bulky, then we know it's going to be in this range. If it's under a pound, obviously it's just like the first class price. So
yeah, that's the main reason. Yeah. We'll do a video sometime soon, like the reasons why we switched over and kind of explaining all that. But that's primarily it. You can do it either way, but like Melinda said, you need to know what your margins are, and it's a little bit easier when you have flat rate shipping. We like the free shipping on bulky items because it averaged out to be profitable, and at the same time you're more competitive.
Right. Because
the calculated shipping on a bigger, heavier item is ridiculous. So if knowing that we get 40% off of retail shipping prices through UPS and FedEx, we know we can be very competitive. So that worked really well for bigger, heavier, bulkier items, and that's why we're able to sell a lot of that and still make a really great margin on it.
Mm-hmm.
I have actually a friend of mine who I turned on to you guys. I mentioned earlier. He asked a question. He wanted to know estate sales. Do you have a percentage of purchases from estate sales, or I don't think you guys really do estate sales too much. It seems.
No, I mean, we were trying to do it before, but it's tough because it's best to get to an estate sale early so you have the best picks. And when you have a baby, it's you have to arrange for daycare ahead of time. So, then you really only get the notices, like 1 or 2 days before the estate sale. So sometimes it worked out and sometimes it didn't. They're great because usually if you can, like I said, you can get there early enough and get in there, you get good products. And we would sell most of our stuff from estate sales very quickly because they do have, it's the stuff that hasn't been picked over by Goodwill, right? Like it hasn't been packed up into a van and like dropped off and then Goodwill rifled through it and put it online. So it's good stuff. I don't know that we could ever narrow it down to like a percentage though.
Very little. Yeah. I mean, no clothes or shoes recently, but I think what we'll do at some point we'll reevaluate and just kind of keep an eye on local estate sales and watch for ones that have a heavy amount of clothing. And then the strategy usually is, okay, figure out what they have that you want, get there at 4:00 in the morning, put your name on a list, then do some work between 4 and 8 before they open, and then dash to that section, get your stuff, and leave.
Right.
And it's worked out. We've made a decent amount of money doing that, but we haven't really had a need to do it for clothes because they're so abundant. And we figure like the estate sale clothing, just in my mind's eye, would be like mostly like vintage women's clothing.
Yeah, which can be really nice,
Yeah.
So. Or I know, like if somebody was like a Harley collector, they might have like a big Harley clothing collection. That type of thing would be in there. But I guess you'd be sort of like looking for certain neighborhoods at that point, really, because you want those like designer.
Yeah. There's definitely money there for sure. But get there early. If you plan on going a estate sale just to mess around, like that's then just for fun. Like you can't show up at 9. You're not going to get in until 1. When you get in at 1, you're not going to find anything, and you're going to spend 3 hours going through this house.
Well, you're not going to find anything for resale.
Right.
That's going to get you a huge profit margin unless it's been drastically overlooked or the estate sale's been drastically undermarketed.
Right.
But
yeah, it's all gone.
Yeah.
The pros pick through it pretty fast.
Yeah. They know because they're looking at that's what we did. We looked at all the photos to figure out where things were, and they just rush in and they grab it and then it's gone.
Now, have you guys been starting to get noticed around your town?
Yeah, a little bit here and there. Obviously, mostly at Goodwill. So one time, like my car broke on the side of the road, and they stopped. I called Edin so we could like transfer cars. And somebody was like, "Hey, I see your YouTube like out the window." And I'm just like, cool.
Yes, Hustlin Hooks. It's like, I watch you on YouTube. It's like, thanks. Like, busy. Yeah, occasionally.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
funny.
too funny.
It's funny when it happens too. It's like, oh, yeah, it's funny.
Well, off the top of your head, what do you think has been your best buy?
Ever or?
Yeah, ever.
That $650 toy buy was really good.
Yeah,
that was really good because vintage toys are like an awesome seller, and we've been in the profit on that one for a long time.
Still not processed. We still have some left. Yeah, that was crazy.
Really good. I don't know. Everything feels so good, like when you're doing it, and then when you have to go back and think about it after it's been a while, you're like, oh, I don't know.
We sold a lot of stuff. I came across another like vintage Fisher Price like private collection that I bought that was really cool. It was all like the little people from the 70s, and he had like each station, like the carousel and the schoolhouse and the Sesame Street, and that was a really good seller for us. I don't even know. We flipped a lot of stuff.
Oh, the Monster High. I liked that one a lot. I had fun flipping that one. I learned a lot about those dolls.
Yeah, that was a crazy find because the guy wanted. I just answered his ad and went to his house, and he's like, "Well, he was basically putting like a few dolls per like Meyer bag, like grocery bag." And he's like, "I was gonna like charge 10 a bag." He's like, "How much do you have?" So he brings out these 2 huge tubs of Monster High dolls, and it's like, why do you have this? Like, well, my children, their grandparents bought them like all the time. It ended up being like, I paid $260, and I think I don't know what the total numbers are, but it's probably like $2,000 worth of Monster High dolls in that lot.
Yeah, and they're just really cool. So I had fun like sorting them.
Yeah, it was a lot.
So it's a good learning curve too.
We found a lot of good buys.
Has there been anything that you've come across that you were like, I don't really want to part with this. I want to keep this for myself?
A little bit here and there, but nothing major. You know, I sometimes keep some articles of clothing, but nothing. I don't think anything crazy. I can't think of anything that we really have. They've been like, oh, we're keeping this.
Yeah, I don't like stuff. So for me, it's like I don't really want it.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I mean. We have our Resident Evil games I still have.
Oh, yeah, the Resident Evil games. And then we also kept, because Jessica liked it, Edin found this like Christmas carousel thing that plays all the Christmas songs.
Yeah, that's a cool one.
Yeah, so we still have that.
$70.
Yeah, but Jessica really likes it. We still have it out. She plays it like a lot of mornings. She'll come down, turn it on, you know. So we have that.
Yeah, we keep stuff she wants.
Yeah, we keep more. Sure. Yeah, we could probably keep more stuff for her.
Oh yeah, the Resident Evil. So we have the original trilogy for PlayStation 1, the Resident Evil games. So that's pretty cool. I got stuck in Resident Evil 1. I don't know what to do, so I got to redo it. I don't have enough. I don't know if anyone that's listening knows what I'm talking about, but I ran out of ribbon to save the game, and so there's like the sequence of events. It's like 25 minutes. And I get to the boss, and I don't know how to beat him, so I don't have enough ribbon to save the game. It's very relevant to this chat. I don't know what to do. You guys can help me out. Shoot me a message on Instagram.
My daughter is a gamer, and she's obsessed with all the Resident Evil, and she knows all them in and out, and she like streams online at times playing them games. I sat down once to try to play them, and I was like so scared and freaked out. I was like, I can't do this. I can't.
I just watched him play because it's like a scary movie, which I enjoy, but
With
I
puzzles.
also am terrible. Like he's let me, I just kept walking into the wall. So I'm like just terrible at it. Like I don't, my brain doesn't
The
do well
monster
at it.
jumped out through the window and she just threw the remote control at me. I'm just like, you can't do that. You got to defend yourself.
Yeah. I was like, oh!
So she watches.
Oh,
It's a
that's
good time.
funny.
We bond
That's
over killing
funny.
zombies.
Yeah.
What do you guys have like set hours, like where you're work during the day, and then at some point you're like, all right, you know what, it's time to close off Hustlin Hooks. Now it's time for us and the family.
Yeah.
Well, we try to be done by 5. Like
Yeah.
we try to hit all the main things by 5. You know, one of us is usually doing something later on at night, either by choice or because, you know, it just happened to be like needed to be a longer day because we didn't get something done. And then the weekends we're really trying to keep that, you know, family time, put up our 40 listings and then have like the days with family, as opposed to just being like tag teaming. So one of us is spending time with our kid and the other person is like, well, I'm going to work. So then it's just like you're working 7 days.
Yeah, it's still that's still up. I mean, it's only been 1 month since we switched this business model, but that's still the goal, is to be done. I mean, I've had the thought of switching our workload to 4 days a week and having 3 days off. I've had also thoughts of like, why don't we just take August off, like the entire month? So I have these thoughts in my head of like, how can we do this better so we can get to the point where we can live that European lifestyle? Because like when my parents were living in Yugoslavia, they usually had 2 months off a year. It was January and August, and nobody worked besides, you know, gas stations and hospitals, police, etc. But everybody was off, and that was, you know, like the socialist/communist way to do it.
Did they get paid still?
They got paid, of course.
That's
That's the beauty of socialism and /communism back in the day. But so some fantasizing on those things, like, well, if we make, let's say we sell $100,000 in 4 months, well, like, what's preventing us from taking the 5th month off and just letting our part-timer or one full-timer kind of run the show, and we just make some decisions and we take the month off and we do what we want. So it's like, this is the beauty of creating your own businesses. It's like, what lifestyle are you going to live? Are you going to live a lifestyle of working 90 hours a week? Well, then go climb the the corporate ladder. There's plenty of opportunities to work yourself to death. Or you want to make yourself a lifestyle that you actually enjoy living. So it's all up to, it's up to us. That's the beauty.
I like that. Now, the last thing we'll get into, I know you guys have limited time. Something that has been a godsend for not only me but hundreds of other people is this spreadsheet you created. Because, and now that I told you I'm going to send this to you. I'm going to send you the spreadsheet I tried to put together over a year ago, and it bad, horrible. Just when I got yours last year, I was like, oh, this is the way it should be. What made you put that together, and what made you decide to like offer it to all the other resellers out there?
Sorry, you cut off in the middle of that. Can you please repeat it?
What made you decide to put the spreadsheet together and then offer it to everybody else?
So we've tracked every single transaction since the first one, when we just literally started as a hobby. So I like tracking stuff in spreadsheets. I've in the corporate world, I've worked with them for 15 years. I'm pretty familiar with them, and I know that I understand the fundamental value of numbers where most resellers don't. So I noticed when I first started interacting in the community that a lot of people weren't tracking their information. They were just like, oh, I make a full-time living. And it's like, well, how do you track? And like, well, I don't know. It's like, well, what do you mean you don't know? Like, how do you know how much money you're making? It's like, well, I know how much I sold. It's like, well, how much did you pay? I don't know. It's like, well, this is weird. So I made a very basic, just one table spreadsheet that just did your net profit calculations. And over 200 people wanted the free copy. And it's just like, well, people really need some help here. So then I made one that was 2011 while I was still at Cisco, while I was still working. I made one during my working hours on company time, like a true.
Not 2011, 2000.
Sorry, 2021.
I was like, that's a long time ago.
Yeah, that is a long time ago. 2021. I made it at work and I released it, and it did really well. And so I just kept building off of it. And yeah, it's a great it's a great business for us. That's one. We're doing some pretty exciting things with it in the future as well. And then it's also like someone like you saying like, oh, this has really helped me. It's like, yeah, that's good. That's what it's supposed to do. It's a tool to help you. And yeah, it's been nice. It's mutually beneficial for us as another, you know, way to make revenue, and then also to help people.
Yeah, it's been a true eye opener to really you know, have to break down with everything, and I'm like a total numbers person. To see the numbers and it's also a motivation too to watch those numbers rise. So yeah, it's can't thank you guys enough. It's huge help, huge help.
Yeah, thank you for your support.
So yeah, I guess that's about it. I want to thank you guys so much for doing this, taking time out of your busy schedule. Seriously, can't thank you guys enough for not only the videos and the spreadsheet, but everything you guys do. And I'm pretty sure I speak for everybody in the reselling community. You guys have been tremendous, and nothing but continued success and rising up the ladder.
Thank you so much. Thank you kindly. Thank you. Thanks for having us on. Thanks for the chat, and we'll do it again.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we got to do like an update maybe 6 months down the road and see how the clothing world is treating you guys.
Something like that. Sounds good.
Sounds good. Now, where should we send everybody to so they can follow you? Where's the best place? Instagram or?
Instagram, where we try to answer everybody on there if there's like questions or anything. So everywhere is Hustlin Hooks without the G on hustling. So, and our Instagram channel is also Hustlin Hooks.
Yeah. Instagram, YouTube. Yeah.
Real quick too, where did the name come from?
Well, Hook is my maiden name, so it just kind of sounded. I don't know. I don't even remember. Like we were just like, well, what should we call ourselves when we were thinking of like the pages, and it was just, you know, because there's like Rally Roots, and you know, people have like everyone had like a handle, you know, so we're like, I don't know, it just flowed well.
Well, we put it on a poll. We were like, is it going to be Hustlin Kurbegovic or is it going to be Hustlin Hooks? And we're like, I don't know, it's kind of tough.
Yeah.
What can we print merch on? I don't know. Hustlin Kurbegovic would be kind of hard for people.
We were doing like Curbifines actually, which
was the first one.
You were trying to use your last name.
Yeah, that's how. It just kind of we did it. I don't know how. Don't ask us these questions.
That's where we ended up.
We do.
It's been working out well.
It's working well. Absolutely. Guys, thanks so much again. Have a great Friday, and get to listen. You got 120 listings to do, so get to work.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Take care.
Take care, guys. And